You want me to start this thing already?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. When do you want me to start?
I mean, you're the one that you said you wanted to touch his balls.
No, no, no.
Oh,
That was
hey,
Jim
everybody.
Cornette. That was Jim
Welcome to the
Cornette.
Wrestling Paradox podcast.
Good intro, Chris. Good intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're here. You're back inside the paradox, except tonight we're stepping away from the war and we're stepping into a topic night. You think I
Topic night.
topic night? Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Podcast Paradox. Hit us up for t-shirts. We got them for sale right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are stocked up, ready to go. They are ready to ship.
Zoltan.
So,
Zoltan.
I'm out. I don't get it. I don't understand your reference.
It was dude, where's my
Oh,
car?
it was dude. Where's my car? Right? Yeah. And then I forgot there was aliens in that movie. It's so weird. All right,
Zoltan.
so check it out. Where are we at tonight? Topic night: wrestling's worst storylines. Now, I must reiterate, these are not. No, put them away. I'm not dealing with this tonight. I'm not dealing with this tonight. I want a serious show. I need to get through this. I have to work out at 5 a.m. So tonight is topic night. Wrestling's worst storylines. Again, these are not like the worst, but like there are worst. What we hated the most, right? Is that what we're going for?
I think mine are pretty bad. Mine are the worst.
Well, I'm starting off with God himself. And that's in 2006 when HBK and God wrestled the McMahons.
That's a solid one.
That's a solid one. That was very I wasn't watching around that time. I kind of fell out because it just got boring after like Evolution died out and everything else. And then I heard God was wrestling at Backlash. So
He can't lose.
yeah, no, God can't lose. Did he lose that match? Please tell me, did Vince McMahon pin God?
No, but I'm pretty sure he had a couple botches though.
Who, God or Vince?
Oh God, he tried walking on the ropes and he showed up drunk. He drank his wine.
It was a weird time for the company, man. They didn't have a rival company pushing them. So when you don't have competition on the other side, you really just kind of throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. And that's what the McMahons were doing. So they basically, how it all broke down was after Shawn lost his smile in the 90s and he found God and got all religious. He came back and McMahon said that his WrestleMania win was an act of God. So now you must tag with God at Backlash. That pretty much makes sense. I get it. You know, you act of God, you must tag with God. Yeah, it's the McMahon way.
Yeah,
I can tell you're speechless by this match. I was too.
I mean, what else can you say? I do have to agree with you when you say that there was no competition for the WWE. I mean, back then, right, and right now, I mean, this is the reason why they're having such terrible product right now is because there's real no competition with them on Monday nights, or in general. I mean, AEW is their biggest competition, but AEW is the direct competition to NXT.
Did you watch Slammiversary?
I watched parts of it.
TNA Impact is back on the map.
Yeah.
Yo, you got Motor City Machine Guns. You got the big
I don't know if they're
LG.
back. I don't know if they're back full time yet.
All right. Let me know what you hear about Sabian and Shelly.
But I do know. First off, it's not Sabian; it's Saban.
Saban. I said Sabian. I wanna kiss you all over.
They had there was like an angle or something when Heath Slater came out. He did his little promo, beat up
Yeah.
the guy, blah blah blah, and then they came out and said they threw him out of the building. I don't know if that was work or shoot, but they threw him out of the building.
That's a fucking work. You don't leave the camera on somebody that long if it's a shoot.
No. This was off camera.
Why'd they throw him out of the building?
Don't know. Because he was wearing a shirt that said "free agent." I don't know.
Was a free. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like it's a work. I feel like we're getting worked.
I don't know, but I mean, the Good Brothers came out at the end and saved Eddie Edwards from getting beat up, so it shows them as
And
like this.
EC3
Mm-hmm.
is back. Yo, and that's weird to me because he
And
really put
Eric Young too.
Eric Young, EY, yes, and Rich Swann returned from injury.
Mm-hmm.
But no, with EC3, it was very interesting because he had released that video
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago with where he was calling everybody's name from AEW,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the way he was doing it was like he was like it was weird. You gotta go watch it. Just put EC3 AEW and you'll find the video. But that made me think he was going to AEW, but no. But he said nope, going to Impact. I
And
wouldn't be surprised if AEW and Impact get in bed together and they kind of share wrestlers.
and I can tell you that like from the initial like buys that they did very well. It was like one of their better pay-per-view buys
Oh, I
in
heard. Yeah, it
years.
was all over Twitter. It
Mm-hmm.
was all over Twitter. Everybody was watching Impact last night. And I don't know where it came from, but man, Impact just blew up last night. That was what everybody wanted to talk.
I told you that I've been saying it for months. Like they're on the cusp
So
of greatness.
if you have the Motor City Machine Guns, you have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, you have the North.
Mm-hmm.
You got some tag teams in that division.
Oh, and they have a new tag team. It's Ken Shamrock and Sammy Callahan.
Are you spoofing me right now? I mean, I know it's a tag team, but are you really saying that's like a tag
Yeah.
team? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I saw Ken Shamrock's botch. It was all over Twitter where he tried to jump over the top rope and he just kind of plopped to the ground.
I mean, you got to realize he's almost 60-something years old. So,
And if he's doing that, I don't know how good that tag team is.
no, I mean Sammy Callahan's the workhorse. You know, Shamrock's the Hogan kind of.
That's the one who got beat up by Tessa Blanchard, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sammy Callahan's the one that his finishing move when he sets it up, he goes thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, I've never been big on him. Drop a title to the girl. No disrespect to the girl, but anyway, what is your number one? Well, whatever number. Doesn't matter, no numbers.
Well, since we're on the topic of TNA, mine is.
Does it involve AJ Styles?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it is on my list as well.
The Claire Lynch fake love affair.
Oh God, it's so awkward because who AJ is, like, he's God. He is family, never cheat, always faithful to his wife. It was just so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, go ahead though.
Yeah, I just didn't like. I didn't get it because if I can remember correctly about the thing, there was him and Dixie Carter were having beef, and in storyline, and Claire Lynch was like her assistant, and
Drug addict.
Yeah,
she's a drug addict as well.
And like AJ would show up to the ring like stumbling, and then they were saying, "Oh, he's drinking and doing pills," and I'm like, "No, he's a straight edge like Christian guy, like."
Yeah,
this is well known.
Kazarian and Daniels are behind it all. That was the greatest part about it.
And the thing is, his wife went on record and said, like, I never liked that storyline. Like, it brought beef to the household.
Dude, you know what the best part about that storyline was? Remember Gawker?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who broke the story about Hulk Hogan and they got sued like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That storyline actually won a Gawker award. I don't know what the award was for, but it won a Gawker award. Gawker's no longer in business, so that award means jack shit. But it won a Gawker award. It's in the books.
All right, so what do you got? You talk to me. Tell me what you got.
This one's a little more touchy because of just the fact of where it all fell. There was a weird time in 2007 when Vince McMahon came back to the company. And I don't remember if they were trying to push him out or whatever the exact storyline was, but they show him walking through the back of the stadium or the arena. And he's walking past all the wrestlers, and then he gets in a limo, and the limo blows up with horrible editing. However, this storyline, because remember, that's what we're talking about tonight, the worst storylines ever. This storyline ended up really bad. because if you remember correctly, only
The next
13
night,
days,
or yeah.
13 days later, I
Mm-hmm.
looked at the dates. June 24th, 13 days later after this, Chris Benoit kills himself and his whole family.
Yep.
So McMahon had to make his comeback to from the dead, and I get goosebumps talking about it because it was such a weird thing. And people inside the stadium, and this is what makes me laugh about WWE fans. People
They were
inside the
calling
stadium,
911.
they were calling 911
Yeah.
to say that his limo just blew up. So,
Isn't that the time when Paul London smiled on camera and he got fired?
was that it? I think
I
so.
think that was it when he was walking
Yeah.
down and all the wrestlers were on the side.
Yep. That's it.
Isn't, if I remember correctly, isn't that the storyline where Linda fired Vince?
Is that what it was?
I think
I
Linda
remember they
fired
wanted him out,
Vince,
but I don't remember what it was for.
and then that's why all the wrestlers were lined up in the hallway, and it was supposed to be like a serious like thing. And Paul London's just standing there smiling, and they fired him the next night.
But no, I would have loved to see how that storyline played out. I don't know what was it coming, where was it going, or what it was going to lead to. But with Chris Benoit dying only 13 days later, not even Chris Benoit dying, I think it was the fact that he killed his family that everybody lost their minds about.
It was all
Um,
over the news. That's what
it
it
was all
was.
over the news, and then it got serious, and it got into steroids and how bad is wrestling, and it got to Nancy Grace, and it got everywhere. And the fact that they just saw the owner of the TV show that they're all talking about kill himself on TV didn't go well for anybody. So that storyline was it. I think we can all agree that this story was garbage from the very beginning and just a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and we lost Paul London.
Oh, I mean, he's still around, but he's not dead.
Dude, did you see how bad the editing was for that limo blowing up?
Oh yeah. As soon as the car door shut, like
It like
it's like a
edited
split.
screens.
Yeah, it's like split screens. Like it switches it, and it's like, oh, okay.
Boom.
Right. But,
So,
but he also paused too. Remember, like before he shut the door, he paused and he looked back at the arena, and then he gets in,
yeah.
and it's like, come on, like, ugh.
Yeah. So, all right, go ahead. What do you got?
I got one. That I don't know if you'll remember this, but um, I want to say it was in '99 or 2000. It was the battle over the letter T in WCW.
What?
Yeah.
2000?
Mm-hmm.
That's Vince Russo era.
It was Booker T was their top guy, and Stevie Ray was in the leader of the NWO at the time. And they were having a match at a pay-per-view, and someone makes a run-in, an old face from the WWF days. It was the old Ahmad Johnson. He was like 400 pounds, but his name in WCW was Big T.
So
And the
Booker
story,
T versus Big T for the T. Okay.
yes. Uh, but here's the kicker. They were all from the same streets, and Stevie Ray and Big T say that Booker T sold them out, never gave back to the streets. Never, they were all like, there's homeless
You know,
people
I as you're
living on the
saying this,
streets.
I kind of remember like this part. Yeah, I
It
kind of
was
remember
so
that.
god awful. And then they had a match at a pay-per-view for the letter T, and Ahmad Johnson being over 400 pounds, it was just
Was
bad.
the letter T on a pole?
No.
Okay. Because I have a couple on a pole matches. And they're Vince Russo brainchilds.
Well, the great thing is, though, here's where the storyline gets skewed for me. In WWF and in Wikipedia, Ahmad Johnson is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Okay. In real life, Booker T and Stevie Ray are from Houston, Texas.
I was gonna say I think they're from Texas, yeah.
So I I, I don't know, man. That's where it lost me. I'm like, okay. And when when Big T on Matt Johnson made the run in on that pay-per-view, he came out and like, do you remember in the early 2000s, the big hit everyone was wearing was those suede running suits?
I had a blue one.
Okay. He was wearing a Timberland one, and it was like khaki tan. So when he did the run in and he starts beating up on Booker T, the sweat from Booker T stayed on, and it looked like he had like a kangaroo or like Carlos from The Hangover, like sitting on his stomach. It was like the weirdest thing ever. Like I don't know. It was just a
I feel
weird
bad
thing.
for Booker T, man. He should have made that jump long before they got shut down, but he was one of the originals.
Well, him, Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash were like one of the ones that were still running on guaranteed contracts in WCW at the time. So whether they went under or not, he was gonna make his money.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. The Battle of the T.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 2000, huh?
Yep.
Because mine's in 2000, WCW as well. My next one, the Bleacher Report has a Hall of Shame for wrestling. And this
Mm-hmm.
was actually the second inductee for the Hall of Shame. The first inductee is on my list as well. But this comes from the great Ed Ferrara and the brainchild of Vince Russo, and that is Oklahoma.
He was cruiserweight champ.
Vampiro, Vampiro, Vampiro. By God. No, on Monday Night Nitro, February 7th, 2000, there was a shot at good old JR. And that shot was brought to you by Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. And they come out making fun of his cerebral palsy, carrying around. And it was JR. There was no doubt about it wasn't JR. Carrying
You
around
know what would have been
barbecue
great?
sauce.
Before you go on, you know what would have been great is when you said, "Oh, it was brought to you by WCW." If you would have said it was brought to you by the letter T, that would have been great.
Damn, man. Stop cheating on me, man.
It was brought to you by the letter T.
uh, no,
Motherfucker.
well, actually, funny part about it is, so after like I think it was like 4 or 5 years, I was reading somewhere an article, I was listening to it somewhere. I think it was Cornette who was saying it. He saw Ed Ferrara like 5 or 6 years later in the backstage of I think probably TNA probably, and he spit in Ed Ferrara's fucking face. He said went right down the back of his throat where I spit at him. He's like, the fact that you did that on national television makes you the biggest piece of shit. Like, I get it, man. I get it. I don't think spitting is the call. I would have punched him in the face, but Jim Cornette's kind of a bitch. Like, he's not really punch. Did you ever see the video of him and Santino going at it at like some SuperCon?
Yeah, I saw that.
God damn it! Get the fuck away from me.
Santino is like a real like MMA jiu-jitsu like teacher. He owns a gym in
Yeah,
like Texas, and he would have mollywopped him and killed him.
dude. Santino's debut was one of the worst storylines. It should have been better.
I mean,
He
it was
should
in
have won the
Italy.
WWE Championship.
It was in
God,
Italy.
fucking Intercontinental title. Italy. It's Italy, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So right when actually this aired, people fucking jumped right on, and they made sure Vince Russo was called out for it right away. And Oklahoma did not live very long in WCW.
But he won the Cruiserweight Championship, though.
He did?
Yep.
He's like 250 fucking pounds.
He won the Cruiserweight Championship. And I can tell you who he beat for it, too. You want to
Say
ready for
Billy
this?
Kidman. Say Billy Kidman.
Nope.
Dean.
He beat a woman for it.
What?
He beat Daphne. Daphne was the valet.
David Flair's.
David
Yeah.
Flair's. Yep. Daphne was the Cruiserweight champion, and he beat her for it. Crazy, right?
Very interesting.
They were grasping at straws in 2000.
Dude, 2000 was a bad time for WCW. That's when you had the great NWO consisting of Scott Steiner, Bret Hart, Jeff Jarrett, and good old Kevin Nash, baby. What an NWO.
Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray.
Yeah, Stevie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man. 2000, I hated 2000. That was like, I feel like Impact has been stuck in like 2000 version of WCW for like the past 6 years. They just won't die. I don't get it, man. Impact can have like 20 fans in the arena and they're still on TV every week.
I mean, they do put out good shows, though. They do put out good shows. I mean, some of their matches are very, very good when you do get to see them.
All right, so there you go. I give you Oklahoma. What do you have?
I've got at the Al Wilson, Dawn Marie, Tori Wilson saga in 2002, 2003.
That was gonna be on my list later. Yes.
Like, I guess it was like, if I can remember correctly, I tried doing my research. It never showed how it started, but I guess Dawn Marie and Tori Wilson were having an angle. Well, Dawn Marie was like, oh, started getting flirtatious with Tori Wilson's dad, and camera crews picked up on them getting intimate in 2002.
Very intimate.
And then on January 2nd, 2003, an episode of SmackDown, the two got married.
It's good times. Good times. Or fuck, weren't we invited?
Oh my gosh, like it blew my mind when I read that. I'm like, because during that time, like from I would say about 2002 to 2004, I wasn't watching wrestling because it was just. And then once the ECW got picked up, well, they did the one night stand. That's when I was like, okay, I'll get back into wrestling. Then I was like, then I read that ECW was coming back to TV. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting back into wrestling. And then I saw it was a WWE ECW.
Yeah, dude. They hornswoggled us, man. They hornswoggled
Oh,
us. They got you a 2006 One Night Stand because I constantly go back and watch One Night Stand, dude. That was wasn't that the RVD John Cena match?
No, that was the second.
Or that was ECW One Night Stand part. Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, the first one, the main event, was when they lit the table on fire. They powerbombed Tommy Dreamer through it. That's the one where Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka match.
Anyway, all right. So our next storyline, yes, after Al Wilson married Dawn Marie.
Yep.
Dawn Marie's selling houses now.
Yeah.
You get a free pair of panties with every purchase. They smell like Cheerios. All right, next. For me, it's going to be we talked about Chris Benoit earlier, so WWE was in jump all over this after he died. Eddie Guerrero. The exploitation of Eddie Guerrero passing away. WWE sucked this up, man, and then they shit on everybody. First of all, you give a win to Mysterio from starting at the number 1 spot. That was in 2006 Royal Rumble when it was down here, correct?
Yep.
So you give it. That was in Miami. So you give that win to Eddie, or you give that win to Ray. And then
in remembrance of Eddie.
Yeah, in remembrance of Eddie. It almost like an asterisk next to that. It's almost like we knew Ray was going to win that night.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was there. I knew Ray was going to win.
Yeah. So him coming out number 1 was kind of cool because nobody's ever started from number 1 and won it all, except for Shawn.
Yeah.
And I think, wasn't there another guy?
I think Stone Cold did it too.
No, but wasn't there one more guy?
Oh, Chris Benoit.
Who?
Wasn't Chris Benoit?
I don't know who that is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right. That guy. We're paid by the network.
We don't know who that is, sir. There was 2 main things that popped out.
You know what would be great? You know what would be great is like if we were to go on the network and go into that Royal Rumble that he wins, and it's just like instead of him, they like CGI transpose like the creator wrestler from like the WWE games, and the creator wrestler just wins. So he's just standing there doing the moveset like this, with the block hands. Instead of the crippler crossface, it's the crippler crossface. It's the creator crossface. Like it's just like standing like this.
No, 2 spots that really stick out for me with this, with Eddie Guerrero passing away, and both come from, surprisingly not, Batista and Randy Orton. First, Batista screaming, "Eddie is dead, Eddie is dead," and then to Ray, and then Orton with the greatest line ever. Eddie isn't in heaven. Eddie's in hell.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's just great story writing. I wonder how he felt about saying that, because I know when whatchamacallit, Roman Reigns was battling chemo, and they asked Mox, "Hey, can you go out there and say some shit about him?"
He said no.
He's like, "No." He's like, "How dare you?" Yeah. And he was like, I guess from what I had heard it from him on the podcast with Jericho, It was supposed to be along the lines of, I'm going to kick Seth Rollins' ass and I don't have to worry about Roman Reigns because cancer's going to kick his ass or something like that. And it's like, God, that's just so, like, I feel it in my body right now. Just saying it out loud doesn't feel right. And I really want to take it back.
Now, if I do remember correctly, what year was that? Was that in 07?
That was in 06 going into 07. Well, no, that
Okay.
was 06. That Royal Rumble's in February, January. So that was the beginning of 06. And then mid 06, that's where it all kind of unfolded.
Okay, because I do remember that text. I watched the Randy Orton documentary or whatever you want to call it on the network years back. He was going through like drug problems around that time. So I
Yeah,
think he was
dude.
doing anything to like stay in good graces with WWE.
Oh yeah. I mean, him and Ray have had to talk about that since then.
Right.
Like, that's something you have to talk about, and you have to be like, hey, look, man, like, how do you feel about saying that? Or, it's okay, or, whatever. But I, I don't know, man. I know him being with Evolution, probably it was a good thing for his career, but good thing for him at the time, no.
Right.
Because he's always out partying with them. Like, they were living that party lifestyle as much as probably Triple H wasn't because of Steph. I know Rick probably had Bautista at the bar until 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Well, I don't think it was like a more of the party persona for Evolution. If you remember, he kept getting hurt, so he got hooked to pain pills then. Like as
Yeah.
soon as he got into Evolution, he didn't break his collarbone or
Yeah.
tore a bicep or something like that, and he just started like he even said it. He was chewing the painkillers just to wrestle.
It's
You
crazy,
know,
man.
yeah, it was. So I mean, he was just doing anything to to stay afloat with WWE.
Up. Good job, Randy. We're all
Hmm.
very proud of you, Randall.
Okay,
All right. So what is your next?
my next one is a very confusing one because I'm going to. I liked it and hated it at the same time. Because I mean, I've put this storyline over so much on this podcast that I hate it now. Starcade '97, that whole year, that the Hogan Sting storyline,
Mm-hmm.
loved it. But the whole storyline comes to an end at Starcade '97, it ruined it for me. That's when it was months after the Montreal screw job, so that's when Bret Hart came in and messed up the ending of the Starcade. But yeah, I wrote it down in my notes. It was see what was supposed to happen was it was supposed to be a fast count when Hogan was on top for the pin, but no one told the referee that. So Sting kicked out. And then what they did was they tried to do a version of the Montreal Screwdriver mid-match. Sting had the Scorpion Deathlock on him, and Hogan didn't tap, and the ref called for the bell.
Yeah, the fact that Bret Hart was okay with that, like going through with that, was weird.
Yeah, it just like you had a whole year where they didn't touch, they didn't have a match, anything like that. Then when you have the match, it's like, what? Like this could have been magical. Like this could have been,
Yeah,
you know.
that
And
was a
then
bad spot for Bret Hart.
yeah,
It was. They should have came in hot off that whole storyline of Montreal, and they just dropped the ball completely. They waited 3 months before they brought him in.
yeah.
And so I've listened to Eric Bischoff talk, and they've asked him that question: why did you wait so long? They were waiting for Thunder to debut because Bret Hart was supposed to be the guy to lead Thunder, and it was taking too long. So I don't know where or when Thunder actually debuted, but I thought Thunder was debuting before Bret Hart was even in the company. I guess not.
Well, here's my thing too is you got. Can you imagine if they would have had that match perfectly written, executed it well, then in '98 not have Goldberg and Hogan on Monday Nitro and had them on a pay-per-view? They could have buried WWF and WWE at that time to where it could have bankrupt,
Yeah, they could have
like
definitely hurt them.
then now we might not be having a WWE discussion, or NXT. We could have been doing WCW versus AEW,
Yeah.
or AEW might not even be around because all the wrestlers could have been going to WCW.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you imagine the WCW network?
Well, can you imagine? Like, look, take it this way. Okay, ready? After WCW closed in 2000, 2001, a year later, 2002, Jeff Jarrett starts TNA Impact, or TNA,
Yeah.
weekly pay-per-views. 95% of their rosters were WCW's
Mhm.
wrestlers. If WCW beats WWF and they had to close, they had to fold, and Ted Turner, the roles are reversed, and he buys WWF, there's no Impact. There could possibly no NXT, definitely. There's no AEW. There would be one major conglomerate for wrestling.
Well, that's what wrestling really died, is when there became one major conglomerate
Mm-hmm.
for wrestling.
Oh, I
You
said that's
know,
why I stopped watching from 2000 to 2002 to 2004 or 5.
well, even before the Attitude Era of WCW versus WWF, Texas had their type of wrestling because they loved their wrestling. Florida had their type of wrestling because they love their wrestling. Mid South had their type. New York had their type. Philly had their type. Everybody had their own taste on what they liked at the buffet. Now there's no more buffet. It's just we're all eating noodles and we're all gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of really fucking sucks about wrestling. Now, I wish there was a fucking wrestling channel and we got TNA, AEW, Impact, WWE, we got fucking Mid South, we got Florida, we got Texas, we got Tennessee, we got Cali. I wish we had that. We don't. It sucks. It would be so much
Mm-hmm.
better. Could you imagine everybody that would be more exposed if
No,
we
I
had that
mean,
kind of shit?
yeah, but like I think WCW in 97, 98, if they would have executed 1% better than what they did, I think they could have been on top. Because then I mean, would if they were on such a hot streak going into 99, Russo's not there.
Yeah.
No one's going to cripple the company.
Yeah. And
The
if you don't
guys,
know about the 1%, Google it. Be 1% better every day. Shout out Aaron. What's up, Aaron?
but it's also like you at that time you wouldn't have lost the Radicals, you wouldn't have lost Barry Saturn, Chris Benoit, or Eddie Guerrero. You know, like your core guys would have stayed there. I mean, Hogan probably would have left because he was old and started not drawing anything in '99. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a what if.
Is that Hogan Jarrett match on your worst storyline?
No,
No. I was thinking about putting it on mine, but I didn't.
no, it was not on mine.
So yeah, that's it. There you go. All right. My next. I'm rolling with June of 2001. There's a stalker in the building. And it's not Dexter Loomis. I'll tell you
Mhm.
that.
It's me. It's
It's
me.
me. It's DDP. Bang. Let me tell you something, man. I feel like I felt so bad for DDP back then for this storyline, but you were handed the Undertaker on a silver fucking platter. If anybody fucked it up, it's you. You messed that up. If Terry Taylor can make a fucking rooster work, you can figure this out on how to be an appropriate stalker. And it just turned out to be one of the worst things in wrestling. And it sucks because when the invasion happened, and I'm gonna get into this now because I feel like they kind of correlate together, and the invasion is also on my worst storylines because when the invasion happened, we didn't get Goldberg, we didn't get off the gate, we didn't get Goldberg, we didn't get Hulk Hogan, we didn't get Scott Hall, we didn't get Kevin Nash, we didn't get Booker T, we didn't get DDP. We didn't get those people. We basically got a watered down episode of Thunder. We got Canyon, and we got like people like
Hey, don't
that.
knock Canyon. Canyon's one of my most underrated
No,
wrestlers.
I get that, and I
I
get
love
that,
Canyon.
but I'm sorry, but back then in 2001 coming in, or 2000 with the invasion and
No,
storyline, it wasn't that good.
their biggest acquisition from the invasion, with two of them were DDP and Scott Steiner.
But DDP wasn't a part of the original invasion. He came later on after.
Yeah, but Scott Steiner was their biggest. Scott Steiner and I think Billy Kidman.
But Scott Steiner was more 2002 because that's when he came in and battled Evolution.
Right.
He was a big adversary for Evolution.
Yeah, I'm just talking about. Well, actually, no. I think Booker T was a part of the invasion because he was the first. Him and Buff Bagwell wrestled for the WCW title on WWE.
Oh, that one of the worst matches ever.
Yeah,
dude. Oh my God, they say they weren't adjusted to the ring yet.
And that's when Buff Bagwell got fired.
Yeah,
he had one match.
And he got into a fight with Shane Helms like backstage somewhere. Shane Helms threw a bottle at him, popped him in the nose, and broke his nose or some shit.
Yeah, and he got fired.
But you have, let's break it down. You have Scott Hall comes in and feuds with Stone Cold. You have Hulk Hogan comes in and feuds with The Rock. You have Booker T comes in and feuds with the Booker T feuded with The Rock right there for a while. You know, the People's Champ. And DDP came in. Yeah, and Stone Cold. And DDP came in, he got The Undertaker, the biggest name in the company. And you flounder that whole situation. It felt good coming up to it. And then once they got into the ring, DDP should have took his mask off and handed it to Sarah because Sarah needed a fucking mask. That woman was god awfully ugly. But I mean, that shit was deader than 4 o'clock, man. That was horrible. It looked garbage. They didn't do it well at all.
I mean, you also have to take it though, like what you were talking about with Ambrose, with the comments, and everything like that, and we were talking about with AJ Styles not feeling comfortable, doing that angle. Maybe DDP didn't feel comfortable doing that angle.
Okay, even if DDP didn't feel comfortable doing the angle, I do respect that. However, let's look at one of the parts when he actually debuted his mask, or when he debuted his face on TV for WWF or WWE at the time. When he was talking to the camera, he was looking the wrong way. He's like, "You've been telling people for years this is your ring," and he looks back this way. He's like, "We'll see," but the camera's still on him this way. It's like, know where you're at in the ring, bro. You're a veteran. Do the right things. I felt like he just dropped the ball. He really didn't give a shit coming into WWE because he felt like he knew where WCW guys ranked in WWE and they were on the back burner. You're a company trying to put this other company out of business, and then you guys just come in and it's supposed to be dandy. No, WWE and Stone Cold, they're gonna be sitting on the other side of the room, like, yo, these fucking guys just try to put us out of business. Why are they here? So it's kind of I felt like maybe that's where DDP was not so much comfortable in his position in the company, more so than comfortable with the storyline.
Right. I mean, the only good thing about the invasion era that happened was one of the best promos, backstage promos ever. It was The Rock when he met the NWO for the first time.
Yeah, that was great.
He goes, and you give it to the Big Daddy Cool Diesel, and he goes,
you Chico Razor Ramon,
and he does the whole. Yeah, that was the best. That was really the only thing. But I mean,
yeah.
Let's try to remember, just off the top of our heads, who came in with the invasion. You had Mike Awesome came in with the invasion. RVD,
Rhino.
Yeah,
Sandman.
Rhino, Just Incredible, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer,
Raven was there.
Raven.
Billy Kidman was there. Chris Kanyon was there.
Booker T.
Booker T was there. Dude, now I look back at it, man, those were the good old days. I wish people were telling you were living in the good old days before they became the good old days.
Yeah. I mean, but, now look at
Nard Dog.
Break me off a piece of that. No one tell him.
What is it? It's a Nard Dog. That's my nickety name.
Break me off a piece of that fancy feast. Nope, doesn't sound right.
Nope, break me off a piece of that fancy. Nope, not it.
But I mean, you look at it, we just listed off really good wrestlers.
Yeah, we did.
So now
here's the stars in AEW.
Now here's the thing: is like you said, you knew where they ranked. I think the invasion didn't work because people didn't let it work. See what I'm saying?
But it was what we always wanted.
You're right, but I don't. No. I'm not saying that us, the fans, didn't let it work. I'm thinking the higher ups didn't let it work. They just bought the company.
Well,
They bought the
yeah, no.
competition, and then
You're not
just
gonna let Booker T go in there and beat The Rock. You're not gonna let Hulk Hogan go in there and beat The Rock. You're not gonna let Scott Hall beat Stone Cold.
right.
Like, I think Booker T got to win over Stone Cold, but Booker T was really accepted in WWE. Like, he's become people remember Booker T now more for his WWE career. I think, maybe, maybe his WCW career is still there. But yo, King Booker was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at
King
it this way,
Booker.
I mean, if you look at it this way, when Taz debuted, okay, you have him beat the undefeated Kurt Angle. Then
Cool.
Taz has to go back to ECW to beat Mike Awesome so he can get the belt because Mike Awesome was jumping ship and going to WCW. Here's where I think the higher ups in WWE just wanted to buy the competition to destroy him because you had Taz and Triple H battle each other on SmackDown. So it was ECW champion. ECW belt of from ECW, the original ECW, was on SmackDown television, going up against Triple H, who was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and Triple H beats him in 3 minutes.
Sounds right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
well, you didn't think Sting was going to beat Triple H at WrestleMania, did you?
Oh, I do. What I honestly, how I would have loved that, see that at WrestleMania, is if you would have had Kevin Nash, Scott Hall turn on Hogan and Sting and say that they were originally WWE and like rip off their shirts and it would be Razor Ramon
if they would have
dragged
the story outline more, then yes. But no, they put Sting right in the WWE title picture right away after that.
Right.
So yeah, that would have been cool. But no,
right.
That would have been cool. That WrestleMania was kind of like, that was a big. I like that. That was good Vince McMahon creative. That was good for him to let that happen because that really fulfilled everything that we've all wanted to see our whole lives, DX and NWO.
Yeah, it sucks that it was 20 years too late.
But they gave it to us, so I have to appreciate that. It sucks it was late, but they gave it to us.
All right.
So what you got?
Since we're talking about the NWO, in 1996, after they jumped ship, JR came out and said that they still own the rights of Diesel and Razor Ramon, that they're coming back to WWE, to WWF Raw and WWF TV. So you have fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon debut. The worst looking Razor Ramon ever. And I mean,
Glenn Jacobs looked great.
yeah. I mean, if his hair wasn't as permish and it was more straighter, okay, could have passed as Diesel. But the fake Razor Ramon was just bad. His accent was just bad. I think he was Jewish. Honestly,
might have been.
He was trying to do a Scott Hall like gimmick and impression.
Hey, Chico!
Bad. It was like, hey, yo, Chico, where's my latkes and potato pancakes? It was just very bad, but I understand why they were doing it because it was all released and revealed, is they still own the rights, but they were also suing Scott Hall because Scott Hall was portraying Razor Ramon
with
that they owned the rights to, with the toothpick and the curl.
Yeah. It was funny actually because I was watching a roundtable and Kevin Nash was on the roundtable when they brought this situation up. And they had brought out, and JR was at the roundtable as well. It was JR, Mean Gene Oakland, Ric Flair, Kevin Nash, and I believe Michael Hayes. And they had brought it up, and Kevin Nash was like, we're in Phoenix at the time, and we get a call that this is a Tuesday morning that they're bringing back Razor and Diesel next week on Raw. And he's like, we're not signed on hard contracts yet. They're signed on, they still have back doors out of their contracts where they can leave and go back to WWE without ever telling WCW. So they get a call from Eric Bischoff, a 202 number, which is Atlanta, I believe it was, or whatever, 404, whatever it is. And so they get a call, and they said they got to get
doubled their
out.
money.
Yeah, they doubled their fucking contract right there at the CNN Center inside the cafe. They said they get a call over there. They fly over. They send a private jet to Phoenix to pick them up. They go back to the CNN Center, and they put them on hard contracts and give them an extra $3 million or some shit. And they're like, "Okay, can we go home now on the private jet? We're good. We're signed."
And what's great though is that the $3 million, it was all guaranteed money. So there was no downside. There was no, it was whether,
because they were never planning on backing out. They were like, yeah, we're here, we're done, we're good, we're in.
I think it was like something like they had to do like 40 spots you know, a year, and they were getting paid like $1.5 million a year. And it's like, okay. Dude. Then they doubled the money, and they're like, for the same
thing. Go home on a private jet now? Thanks.
Okay. I wonder why Scott Hall had a drinking and drug problem. Like,
dude,
they handed him the keys of the kingdom.
And the fact that they like kept bringing their friends in, and they had the royalty where no one can sign higher than them.
So, yeah, and if anyone got a raise, they got more money too.
They got more money too. No wonder they went broke.
Like Stevie Wonder can see that they were going to go bankrupt on that with that.
Dude. I wonder if Kevin Nash ever got all that money, because I know he sat home for like $2 million a year the last like 2 years. He sat home.
Yeah, that was AOL Time Warner bought out Turner Broadcasting. And here's the option. You either get $2.5 million a year, or you have to go wrestle 65 or 310 days a year. Oh, I'm gonna sit home.
I'll sit home. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sit home. You know. And then he comes back, and then within a month and a half, he tears his quad.
Yeah, he looked great. And then we get him at the 2008 Royal Rumble, baby. But
you want to know what? Growing up, though, Diesel was one of my favorite wrestlers in WWF. It was Diesel and Psycho Sid were my favorite.
Of course, the guy who the worst champion statistically on paper is your favorite wrestler.
I loved Psycho Sid. His gimmick was just like
I'm talking about Diesel. Diesel had the worst box office draw as champion. Statistically, money-wise, he could not draw a dime.
Yeah, but his matches were good. I mean, his before he left, he had that match where he had to drop the belt to Bret Hart. And do you remember when he had the TV monitor in the ring and he hit Bret Hart off the apron, and Bret did like it kind of did like a La Plonja off the apron, and when he landed in the TV announce table, he landed head first, like straight into the table.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, it was actually they were pretty good. I mean, then he had matches with King Mabel.
One of my most memorable moments with Kevin Nash as Diesel was the powerbomb to Shawn, and Shawn like overshoots it. Yeah, but he overshot the powerbomb. He like landed on his feet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also, like, back then, even before he started getting guaranteed contracts, Kevin Nash took no shit from anybody. He told Mabel, I think it was in 95, it was for the belt, and he told Mabel, like, look, you've been hurting people with that sit down on the back, you know, where you're doing the sit down splash on the back and everything like that. Well, Mabel went into business for himself and did it. And after that, like, there were some hard shots in the corner. Like, he was like close fist punching Mabel and like almost broke his nose. And then when they got to the back, he beat the shit out of Mabel.
Damn, I want to go back and watch that match now.
I want to say it was 95 SummerSlam. I just watched it.
That's Kevin Nash and Mabel, right?
Yeah, Diesel and Mabel, yeah. Or it might have been the Royal Rumble. I don't know.
I'll find it. Yeah, no, that was a good thing, man, for them guys. They definitely got more money out of that, and they got made to look like fools on Monday Night Raw.
And fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon lasted maybe 4 months.
Oh my God. And then Eric Bischoff's reaction to when they're all in the back of Monday Night Nitro and they're all watching the fucking little screen in the back of the van, and they're about to bring out the fake Diesel and fake Ramon. And they come out, and Kevin Nash is standing there with Scott Hall, and they look at each other, and then Eric Bischoff looks over at them, looks back at the monitor, looks at them, and goes, "Fuck! I just wasted $6 million." Yo, dude, I love that interview by Kevin Nash because the way he like colors it up and the way he does it, he's just like looks back at us, looks back at the monitor, and he's like, "Fuck." Yeah, no, man. Kevin Nash and fake Nash and fake Scott Hall was definitely interesting to see on Monday Night Raw. So my next one, I told you guys earlier, Oklahoma with Bleacher Report has a Hall of Shame for wrestling, and number 2 entrant ever was Oklahoma. The number 1 entrant for them, and it's one of my worst ones, worst storylines, because it went absolutely nowhere. It was supposed to be the tough guy, and who was going to be the tough guy. We've talked about it before, and that's the Brawl for All. The Brawl for All was one of, if not the worst storyline that led to nothing. They were using that storyline on a hoping to win that some old guy was going to be able to hang with Stone Cold Steve Austin that year. And then he ended up getting knocked out in the second round by Bart Gunn. You know, Dr. Death Steve Williams was supposed to be the tough guy coming in from Japan, working in with Gary Albright and all these tough guys over there. And he gets over here and he gets knocked out by a left hand from a Hollywood Blonde. Or he wasn't the Hollywood Blondes. What was Bart?
Smoking Guns.
The Smoking Guns. There you go. Yeah, Billy and Bart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So the Brawl for All really was a bad storyline overall, because at the end of it, you had this winner and you had the toughest guy in the company, and then McMahon's like, "Well, fuck, we don't want him to be the toughest guy. What do we do? Oh, let's get him knocked out by a professional boxer at WrestleMania," and that was the end of Bart Gunn's career.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, like you said, it was supposed to be a storyline for Steve Williams to go against the real Steve Williams at WrestleMania. You could have done it a whole lot different and not put these wrestlers, lives in danger. Like there were so many concussions. Like, who was in the finals? It
was Bradshaw.
I didn't think Bradshaw was in the finals. I thought it was Godfather versus Bart Gunn.
It might, yeah. Did Bradshaw get knocked out by Bart Gunn for Bart Gunn to get to the finals? Maybe.
Yes.
Okay, then it was the Godfather at the end.
Because it was the reason. There was 2 reasons why Brawl for All started. It was, one, because they wanted Steve Williams to get to Steve Austin at WrestleMania, but 2, Vince Russo wanted to shut up Bradshaw because Bradshaw was going around saying,
I don't believe that. I don't believe that storyline. Look at the years. Look at the years that storyline happened. Who was Bradshaw to ever be a bully in the back in those years? Bradshaw was a mid-card guy who just got out of the tag team that was repackaged to become the Blackjacks number 2. He couldn't be a bully back then because the real bullies wouldn't let him be a bully. People like The Undertaker would have smacked Bradshaw around if he was back there saying that shit. I think what happened is the boys were shooting on each other and having some fun, and Vince Russo didn't know what shooting was or what wrestling was or ribbing was, and that's where fucking Russo. Because if you look at the dates, he couldn't have been a bully. Not until the later years when he became the APA and things like that. That's where he got that respect in the back.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, all right, so that storyline, and I've looked at timetables, that storyline or that story of Vince Russo coming out and say, well, I wanted Bradshaw to get knocked out because he was a bully. That all came out right when Bradshaw being a bully had started becoming a thing because of Mauro Ranallo and everything else. That's where Russo started saying that story because he wanted to jump on that whole Bradshaw's a bully thing. I don't believe Bradshaw was a bully back then. I think he probably would have got his ass beat by the real bullies in the locker room and the real leaders of the locker room. But maybe I might be wrong. I don't know. I just don't see. I think Vince Russo's just trying to stay relevant, honestly. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Your topic. Oh, wait. No, it was my topic. But your comment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean.
Love me. Say that you love me. Fool me. Go on and fool me.
Let me let me get Lance Storm on this. If I can be serious for a moment.
Oh, sorry.
My topic is it was kind of hard to watch. Very hard to watch, actually. It was how WWF decided to use Road Warrior Hawk's personal demons and drug addiction
Oh,
and drinking
so bad.
in the storyline.
It's the same thing they're doing with Jeff Hardy right now.
Yeah, it didn't work then and it's not working now. Having him like basically drunkenly stumble to the top, climb. Not even, here's my thing. We've all been drunk. We've all been like to where we can't stand up or we fall asleep with our ass cracks hanging off a couch. And let our
We have
friends
carried
take
each other
pictures.
out of bars, drunk
Okay.
on each other's shoulders.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm not climbing a 30-foot Titantron.
No.
Like, and then all of a sudden you have Darren Drozdoff, who now is paralyzed. This is what the irony is. Climb up to try to grab him to get him down, and then he falls off the back. But he said he was pushed. But it just, and then like him, like I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't sit right with me. I don't think they should have done that. Um. Anyway, I think it was tasteless, and I think it was horrible and horrendous to watch. It was just not good.
Yeah, it wasn't comfortable at all. And that I remember seeing him like fall off the other side of the screen. I guess he landed on an airbag or something back there. He had to have.
No, someone caught him.
Oh yeah. I think it was Hawk or Animal.
No, I think it was. Well, no, since his name was Hawk, he probably just flew.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what Owen Hart tried to do.
His wings didn't deploy.
Sorry, Osh. Who names their kid Osh?
Oh shit! That was a mistake.
Oh. All right.
Shit! I should have pulled out.
All right. So what else do we have here?
Did you ever notice when you watch that Dark Side of the Ring, Oj Hart looks like Crispin Wall's kid?
Eh. Huh. What are you doing over there, Mrs. Hart? Slut. All right. So I'm gonna read my notes off of this one because this isn't gonna be my last one. I have one more after this, and we're only about an hour in. So this one here goes back. This is fuck. I don't remember. I didn't get the year, but I got October 7th episode of Monday Night Raw. Triple H confronts Kane and tells Kane that he knows a secret of a woman.
On my list.
A woman named Katie Vick. Boys and girls, if you have not watched or seen any of this,
if you've lived under a rock,
yeah, if you lived under a rock and don't know who Katie Vick is, go look. So so the following week, Kane tells everyone who Katie Vick really is and what really happened to her. Triple H comes out and tells everyone that Kane was drinking that night and they found semen. Let me repeat that. This was said on national television. They found semen inside of Katie Vick that belonged to Kane. So what happens after that? Well, I mean, the only route WWE can go after saying semen on national television, they show Triple H in a Kane mask fucking a mannequin. Times were tough. There was not a lot of people to they didn't have competition, folks, so they were just pretty much throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. I feel like WWE does that a lot. So they show and then the week after that, this is a 4-week segment. The week after that, Triple H shows up with a mannequin. I got nothing else. You guys can take what you want from that storyline.
Yeah. That
leave you speechless?
Yeah.
That was on your list, right?
Yep.
Do any of your notes differ from mine?
Nope. Nope. He fucked a mannequin in a casket.
Yeah, it was weird. So, what else you got?
It was WWF in 2003. What do you expect?
Yeah, no, it was a great time. Great time.
All right, mine
Which was
was
more cringe, Claire Lynch or Katie Vick?
probably Katie Vick because it's a fucking mannequin.
All
Literally a fucking mannequin.
right.
Mine is, we talked about this earlier. David Arquette winning the WCW championship.
I feel bad for Arquette.
He won it on an episode of Thunder. He was teaming with DDP going against Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. And he pinned Jeff Jarrett. That was the rules, everybody. It was a tag team match. Whoever pinned the champion won the belt. He pinned Jeff Jarrett to win the belt before DDP did. Then, this is where it gets even better. A month later, at Slamboree, you have a triple cage match between him, DDP, and Jeff Jarrett. And he wins again. David Arquette. And this was all a publicity stunt to advertise one of the worst sporting/wrestling movies of all time.
Wicked. What would King do, bro?
Ready to Rumble is one of the worst movies.
You didn't like that movie?
No.
Tell your Uncle Larry these seats suck. Hey, he lost his left nut in Nam. If you lose your left nut, is it still your left nut?
It was such a terrible movie.
So, okay, I like that movie, first of all. I think it's a great movie. Diamond upside down as a pussy. No, so I feel bad for David Arquette in this situation because Eric Bischoff went to DDP first that night and gave him the finish and said, look, we're putting it on Arquette. All right, DDP was the first one to be like, no, Arquette will not go through with this. He loves wrestling too much. So they told him, hey, look, DDP, this is it. This is the finish. We're putting it on Arquette. And I had watched an interview and DDP delivered the news to Arquette, and Arquette was like, nope, I can't win it. That's not who I am. I'm not a wrestler. I'm here for fun. You cannot put this title on me. And he goes, look, man, that's the finish. They want to put the title on you. They want to do it. So as much regret as he had to go for that 3 count, because Arquette's a wrestling fan, just like us. I mean, he wrestles now.
He's a wrestler. Yeah, he's a wrestler.
He's a wrestler, but he is a wrestling fan. Like, he grew up watching Ric Flair and watching Roddy Piper and watching Dusty Rhodes. He grew up watching these people. He loves wrestling. That's like us going to a show to report something. And they're like, hey, Chris, yo, come here tonight. What's your name? Oh, yeah? All right, cool. You're going to win the title. What? No. Why am I going to win the title? It doesn't make sense. You know?
How about, if I can remember how this match played out, how that whole night played out. It was on a Thunder. David Arquette gets jumped by Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett in the back. And initially it was a handicap match, and he
goes rolling out.
No, he comes out. He's stumbling and he's holding his ribs. His shirt's torn. He's got a black eye. How an eye blacks in 45 minutes, I have no idea. And then he comes out and he didn't he hit Jeff Jarrett with a chair or maybe the guitar? Or it was a punch, yeah. And he pins him for the win. Yes, everybody.
Better than 4 o'clock.
And the crowd went mild.
Oh, I see what you did there. The crowd went mild. Congrats. You should get that trademark.
It went over like a fart in church. Let's just say that.
Or a fart on a podcast.
Yeah, well, that went over pretty well.
It did. I went back and watched it. I show people all the time. Hey, you guys want to see something funny? I have it marked on my phone.
But I understand that he didn't want to put on it. Then why put it on him again at the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I maybe he fell in love with it. I don't know. But you know, that was that weird time of wrestling when didn't Didn't whatchamacallit, Vince Russo win the title not long after that in a steel cage match with Booker T?
No, he put it on himself.
No, but then he defended. He came out in a Ravens uniform. They were in Baltimore, Maryland. It was Booker T versus Vince Russo in a steel cage match. Booker T beats the shit out of Vince Russo. Out comes Goldberg. Goldberg says that he wants to spear Russo a few times. Booker T tries walking out of the cage. Scott Steiner stops him. And as Booker T is stepping out of the cage, Vince Russo gets speared by Bill Goldberg. And
Through
Vince
the
Russo
cage.
is through the cage, and now Vince
Mhm.
Russo is still the champ.
Yeah.
So that's it was a weird time for WWE, man. Weird time.
WCW.
Or WCW, WCW.
But let me just put this into perspective for our fans. The same David Arquette that was the sheriff on Scream is the
Is now one of
WCW.
the baddest motherfuckers in deathmatch wrestling right now.
Yeah, very, very.
He's
But
a
in
monster.
2000, he went from being a sheriff on Scream to WCW champion. The same belt that Ric Flair held 16 times.
That's where he felt. That's why he did not want to hold it.
Exactly.
He was like, I can't do this. This isn't who I am.
If it was like the TV title or the US title or even the hardcore title back then, I would have not had a problem with it. But like Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Ric Flair held this belt, Sting held this belt, and
You could have had
Arquette.
David Flair versus David Arquette and be the battle of the Davids. That follows the battle of the T.
That would have been number one on my list.
By the way, this is taking place in London. Battle of the T. All right. So for me, this is the final one on my list. It's going to be, and it's a split between two different ones, and I think both were equally as bad. Both. I'm going to tell you what kind of stipulation it was, and you're going to know exactly what matches I'm talking about. They were both on a pole.
Viagra on a pole and was it title on a pole?
Judy Bagwell.
She wasn't on a pole. She was on a forklift.
It was billed Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Yeah. She was on
Both
a forklift,
matches.
on a pallet on a forklift.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown in case you weren't keeping track. 4 of my matches are the brainchild, or 4 of my storylines are the brainchild of Vince Russo. 4. I gave you a total of like 8, 9, maybe. And 4 of them are Vince Russo babies. Vince Russo was great in WWE because he had someone to tell him no. When he got to WCW, he ran wild and he just made everything a shit stain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
both those matches. Do you remember why the Viagra on the pole match happened? Do you remember who was in the Viagra on the pole match?
No.
I hate one of them.
Okay, Mike Awesome.
No. Shane what's his fucking name?
Sean Stasiak?
No, Shane Douglas versus Billy Kidman. So Billy Kidman and Shane Douglas, there was a manager involved somewhere or something like that, and they were on Billy Kidman's side, and they said Shane Douglas couldn't get it up no more.
Oh, Torrie Wilson, probably.
Torrie Wilson, yeah, I think it was. And they said Shane Douglas couldn't get it up anymore. And that is where Viagra on a pole match happened. Why Billy Kidman needed to grab Viagra, I don't know. I don't get it. I get on the pole matches. I understand if there's a weapon on the pole. The object is to get the weapon and then beat the fuck out of somebody with it. But Viagra on a pole, what are you going to do? Pour it down this guy's throat and make him walk around the raging boner around town for the next 4.5 hours? Like, what was the point of this match? And then Judy Bagwell on a pole. I'm sure Buff Bagwell was in that match, but I don't remember who else was. But I know it shouldn't have happened. I want to find out who's on that match.
I think wasn't it Buff Bagwell and Rick Steiner?
Was it?
I think.
Judy Bagwell on a pole match. That would be Chris Kanyon, I think it was. It was at WCW New Blood.
Hmm.
So there you go.
Oh, well, that's lovely. So I got one. I have four, but three of them, four. I have four, but three of them are all in one because they're all the same thing. The three that are all in one, the storylines I hate are relationship based. Like, for instance, start off Lita's marriage and miscarriage with Kane, and Snitsky takes the baby and punts it into the crowd. Okay.
Snitsky really got the shit end of the stick. He was promised ECW, and they put him on ECW. They have him shave his head. They have him turn his teeth fucking yellow. And then a week later, they draft him back to Raw. And he's like, well, what the fuck?
Remember, they made him shave his head and his eyebrows to make him look like King Kong Bundy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then he had to get traded back to fucking Raw. And he's like, wasn't I promised ECW?
So, that's when Kane was going after Snitsky, and Lita went. And he pushed Lita down, and she had the miscarriage after that.
Yep.
And his thing was, it wasn't my fault. Stupidest storyline. That's number one. Number two is, as of most recent, was the Lana Rusev and Bobby Lashley. And these next two they're the same storylines, but they're just different people. So Bobby Lashley, Rusev, and Lana in a love triangle. When in real life, now we're in social media era. Everyone knows that Rusev and Lana are still married. They're on Total Bellas together or Total Divas together. They're still in a relationship on social media. If you wanted it to go, then have them create fake accounts on social media where they change their names and then start beefing with each other and calling each other out on social media. Don't have them continue their real lives. Like, where's the kayfabe in that?
You really want to talk to me about kayfabe?
Number three is
okay.
Triple H, Stephanie, and Kurt Angle love triangle. It made no sense to me that that Kurt Angle would get smitten with Stephanie, as everyone knows that that she's married to Triple H.
Can I comment?
Go ahead.
You say Bobby Lashley, Rusev, and Lana was a horrible angle.
Yeah.
I can show you facts that angle was pulling demographic left and right, and that was pulling one of the highest ratings of Raw.
Because there was nothing else happening.
But people were drawn to it. I was drawn to it.
Yeah, and people only drawn to it because of the name of the show. It's just like the one season of The Office where Robert California was the manager.
Greatest season, hands down. Greatest season.
Way. You are
what? Do you really want to fucking get into this? Are you fucking kidding me?
Or we can talk about where Will Ferrell was boss for the 4 episodes.
That was trash. That was garbage.
Right, exactly. But everyone watched The Office.
But don't you dare disrespect the fucking Lizard King.
It was terrible. It was terrible. And my last one, but not least, this one, they had to let the guy go because of it. In 2005, the Muhammad Hassan character.
Yes.
Where they dressed as terrorists and they jumped The Undertaker. In 2005, 4 years after 9/11.
Could you get away with that now?
Like, they had a terrorist jump. Who, remember, back then, at that time, that's when The Undertaker was the American badass.
Yeah.
You had terrorists jump the American badass. And I understand it created heat, but it created heat that it wasn't wrestling heat.
Mm-mm.
They were sending death threats. They had to release him. They had to change the storyline right away.
And that's the thing. Once you get past wrestling heat and it becomes real life heat, people in ECW knew how to handle real life heat because you saw it every day there. The wrestlers had a hard time walking through the crowd, or had a hard. If you weren't Sandman, you weren't really accepted in the crowd. But there was once you cross that line from wrestling heat to real life heat, that's where you know you have a problem. And I think a lot of these storylines tonight crossed over to real life heat for a lot of people, going from Oklahoma to, you know, just there's so many storylines that make us go, oh, what the fuck, to Eddie, to Chris Benoit. You go to these storylines and you're like, dude, is that really like the coolest fucking thing right now? It's kind of fucked up, you know. So what do you think of our list tonight?
I think they were stellar.
Stellar lists. Would Aaron agree?
I don't know. He's a fucking jabroni. He's a mark.
Mike, what do you think, Mike? All right.
I don't know. I don't know if Mike lasts to the end of the podcast. I think he skips
Mike
through.
lasts all the way through. I know every night firsthand. All right. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Podcast Paradox. Make sure you hit us up, and if you guys want any shirts or anything like that, we are selling shirts. We do have them made, ready to go. All I need is an address and the Venmo. That is it for tonight.
We're also going to be changing the format of the show a little bit for topic nights. That's for Saturdays.
Can I get into this, please?
Go ahead. You do it, man.
All right. Yes. As he said, 4 topic nights on 4 different Saturdays. We're going to be moving the show back to Saturday, but we're changing it up a little bit. Every other week, we are going to be doing a topic night, and then we are going to be doing a This Week in Wrestling, kind of keep you guys up to date on what's going on throughout the whole wrestling show. That includes AEW, WWE, NXT, Impact, Ring of Honor, Japan. Anywhere there's wrestling, we're going to try and get involved. And don't forget your boys at CCWFL. That's right, baby. CCW making a big move. They got Nashville coming up, then they're coming down to Orlando here in a couple weeks. So I think, did Nashville happen already for them?
Nope. July 25th.
And then August 1st, they're going to be right in Orlando. They have another show turned around the week after. I'm hoping they come back down here soon. So, all right, guys, that is it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Chris, I told you, can't eat cats. You can't eat cats, Chris.
You can't eat cats, Kevin. You can't eat cats.
What was it? Clevin?
What is it? A 7 plus a Clevin get you home by... No, is it? It's 4 plus Clevin get you home by 11.
And then you have that. Enjoy.